Hello, everyone. We're just letting you into to the Zoom. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sheila Donahue. I'm founder of Vero. We go around the world seeking small production wines and olive oils from farmer artisans like Aldo Clerico, who we're visiting today. And we sell them to businesses and consumers across the U.S. When I say that, I mean distributors, wine stores, restaurants, consumers, corporates. You got it. So, and we love to spread the word about these people that are farming their own land, making authentic, sustainable wines. And Aldo Clerico is one of our first producers. We've had the last real VeroTalk we had with him was right after COVID hit in April of 2020. So so we're really glad to be sitting down with him today. And our colleagues Jackie Mitchell and Andrea Boscarino are with Aldo in Monforte d'Alba, which is just south of the town of Barolo, of course, in the Barolo wine producing region. And
I have no audio.
Oh, we're hearing you, Nancy. Hey. Oh, anyway, so and I wanted to just tell you I'm excited to be having this today as well, because it's March 1st and March is Women's History Month. So so we're a woman-founded company, and we celebrate women in wine, and that also includes Aldo's wife, Valentina. So just kudos to all of you women in wine out there. And I will turn it over to Jackie and Andrea, who are moderating. And you guys take it over. Oh, I wanted to say, if you have any questions, we want to make this interactive, so feel free to put your questions in the chat or just unmute yourself.
All right, thank you, Sheila. And really excited for this evening. We've got 6 wonderful wines. We started a little bit early ourselves, and it was a nice aperitivo for the evening. So we're really looking forward to this evening, introducing Aldo and his wines to you guys, and a little bit about also just kind of the area. So without further ado, I think we'll just kind of jump right in here. And Aldo, so we're here in Monforte d'Alba, in the Langhe, in Piedmont, in northwestern Italy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
I am American, but I've lived here for 10 years now. Andrea is Doc from the area. So maybe we should start off with, knowing that we've got 6 wines to cover here, maybe we should start right off with the first one, the Dogliani.
Okay.
That sounds like a good plan. In the meantime, so this first wine that we're opening will be the Dogliani Dolcetto. And Dogliani is an area just kind of over the hill that is very famous for the wine known as the grape of Dolcetto. And so maybe, Aldo, you could tell us a little bit about this.
I explain a little bit my story, and after explain the one.
Okay, that sounds great to me.
Hello, everybody. I'm Aldo Clerico from Monforte. I'm a young winemaker. I started to make wine in 2004 because first I studied for another work. I was accounted, but I don't like too much this job. Every day closing our office, people have no patience, is not for me. I try to do it for less amount, and after I decide it's not for me. I go First to start to make wine, I go to work some year in some cellar to learn to make a good wine, because my parents had vineyard, but they sold the grapes to other winemaker in Tisara. Me, I go 5 years to work in some cellar in Tisara, and after in 2004, I started to make wine. Me, I am the first people in my family start to make wine. First, only grapes for other winemaker. I'm very lucky because my parents have 6.5 hectares in the area of Barolo, because today it was impossible buy here because the price are so much crazy. For 1 hectare is possible spend 1 million, 2 million, a lot of money. And for me, it's impossible to
Looks like they're frozen. They actually had a snowstorm in Monforte d'Alba this week. So could be the weather. Oh, yeah, they dropped out. So, well, I can talk a little bit about Aldo while they're getting on. First of all, just to say hi to Matt and Peppy. Is that you, Michael, in the back? Okay. And it's nice to meet you in person, sort of in person, Nancy. Okay. It looks like they're back.
Okay, sorry. Had a bit of a technical glitch there.
Okay.
But we seem to be back. So anyway, Aldo, so you were saying that you were really lucky that your parents had owned this land in the Barolo area, which is so famous.
Yes, me, I'm very lucky to have some hectare in the area of Barolo, because today only group investment or industrial people buy here. A normal people is impossible to buy here, some vineyard. And I think it's not good for the traditional, because about some year, most vineyard are property of no Italian people, no Piemontese people, and traditional stop to exist. And for me, it's not good. And me, I have most of my vineyard are in the area of Barolo, but I have less 1 hectare in another village called Monforte, and in this village with the Dolcetto grapes, we make the Dogliani. Some year ago, this wine have another name. The old name was Dolcetto Dogliani. But some years ago, the winemaker of this wine decided to change a little bit the name. We decided to cut the name Dolcetto and go out and only rest Dogliani. Why? Because a lot of people think Dolcetto is a sweet wine, because Dolcetto remember the name Dolce, sweet wine, and a lot of people think is a sweet wine. But the name Dolcetto is not for the wine, because the wine is not sweet, but for the grapes. Because if you come here during harvest and you eating the grapes of Barbera, Nebbiolo, and Dolcetto, the best to eating is the Dolcetto, because Dolcetto have less acidity than Barbera, less tannin than Nebbiolo, and when you eating Dolcetto grapes, you have more sensation of sugar, but it's not a sweet wine, only for this.
So that's why it's called Dolcetto, which dolce in Italian means sweet. So
Yes.
Literally, it's like little sweet is what the name.
Yes, but it's not the sweet.
But it's not sweet, it's just the grape itself.
Only
It's
it's not for the wine, but for the grapes. And this Dolcetto we make in another village, because most of my vineyards are in Monforte, but I'm at the border of the area of Barolo. I have less 1 hectare in another village called Monchiero, and with the Dolcetto grapes we make the Dogliani. Dogliani is more stronger, more powerful, and more alcohol than the other wine. than the other kind of dolcetto because we have less grapes in the. Because normally in 1 hectare in Dogliani, I can produce no more grapes than the other kind of dolcetto. And for this, the wine normally is more concentrated, more powerful, more alcohol. After the weather in some year changed too much, it's too much dry, too much sunny, and the alcohol become more high. For example, this is 2021, the alcohol is 14.5. For dolcetto is too much because changing the climate. Sentiamo?
Okay, we'll taste. So so in this vineyard, you have a very controlled quantity. You don't have a large amount of grapes for the area. It's very concentrated.
We have normal grapes, and for this, the grapes they are more mature. And we have organismal controls possible coming vineyard and look the plant are okay or they have too much grapes. If they have much grapes, they order to cut some grapes, and after some day they return to me to control the vineyard are okay or not. If are not okay, I make red wine. It's not good.
Much better to make them.
Yes, and this wine to make all my wine, I don't use Easter.
Yeast. No yeasts added. Okay.
Because it's not necessary, because are only expensive, because we have the natural, because in the skin of the grapes there are, and normally we don't use. But it's possible I use when stop a fermentation. Normally is possible for Barbera, because Barbera when it's too much dry, too much sunny, is more probable to stop the fermentation and the way the wine stays sweet. And for this, I use some Easter, but only in this case. Normally, we don't use anything. Are only expensive and are not necessary.
So can I just suggest to maybe speak a little more slowly? And I find what you're saying, Aldo, right now quite interesting, because I after I started to import in your wines, I didn't know that that your wines are made with a native yeast fermentation, which I personally like, because I feel that it is more expressive of the terroir of the place where your grapes come from. Is that? Do you find that, Aldo, to be a benefit for your for this way of making wine? Aldo,
Yes, go ahead.
And this wine stay normally 5-6 days of fermentation in some special tank with a controlled temperature, because high temperature are not good for the wine, because it's possible the wine have a perfume of bird. Less temperature is my priority, the wine stays sweet. Normally we have 28 to 30 degrees during a fermentation. When the wine finish a fermentation, we separate liquid and solid, and after stay more amount in still tank. And normally dolcetto at the end of the spring we put in bottle. Normally dolcetto is the first wine we put in bottle. For dolcetto or for more wine are no rules for the wood. For example, for dolcetto, every winemaker is free to use wood or not, and for how many amount you prefer. But me, in my case, I don't use wood, because dolcetto for us is a daily wine. It's not necessary to put in wood. It's only expensive and stop for me.
Okay. I'm really interested in what Sheila was mentioning earlier about the native yeast. When you, so your choice to use the natural yeast,
Yes.
to not add natural yeast, do you find that it gives the wine a more, a flavor that is more representative of the natural terroir of this area?
Yes, it's more representative because it's natural, are in the grapes. So we don't need to buy some from Tuscany, from Spain. No, this is natural from my vineyard and this is
It's what nature intended. the
Natural.
grapes.
are only expensive in the store.
Perfect. So this, it's hard to see on the camera because I know we have weird lighting here, but it's a really beautiful kind of purple color, and I love the nose on it. It's a very expressive nose, and
We are very lucky because some year the wine are good or very good. We're very lucky because some year don't arrive as from the sky. It's not raining too much, and we are very lucky. But when I work from other winemaker, I learn a very simple rules to make a good wine. It's very easy. If I have a good grapes, it's very easy to make a good wine. You don't need too much to work in the cellar. With a bad grapes, it's impossible to make a good wine. I can buy every machine, everything, but with the bad grapes, it's impossible to make a good wine. We have a more cure in Vigna during summer. We go in Vigna, only me and my family, because me and my family know every Vigna, every part of the Vigna. And during summer, we need to cut the grapes, some grapes, and put in the soil because we don't need more quantity, but we need the quality. After the weather, it's possible to destroy everything, but me, I am on the sky. È giusto?
it is. It's so true though. If you think about a good wine, it does. It starts in the vineyard,
Yes.
and you said your whole family works with you, your dad, and it
Yeah.
works in the vineyard with you
Yes.
still.
Normally, we are,
So you mentioned earlier that you guys used to sell the grapes. What did your dad do?
sorry?
What did your dad do
But
before?
not cut the grapes because here, me and other seller in Zara, we want quality, not quantity. It's not necessary to make more wine and bad wine. We prefer put less grapes, less wine, but good quality. For example, I have a lot of work in Vigna to control, to cure, and in the cellar, yes, I have a lot of work during harvest, but after, if the wine are okay, we don't need too much work in the cellar. Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's kind of like the hard work is done.
What do you guys think, Matt, Pepe, and Michael? Because I know they have your Digliani. Looks like they're in New York City. It looks like they're having
Hello,
an aperitivo early.
can you hear us?
early aperitivo.
So the Dolcetto is really lovely. I think it's a nice expression of the Dolcetto, and it's got a very clean nose. It tastes very fresh, and it's got a nice nice balance of thing to it, even though it's got 14.5% alcohol.
Yes. For us, Dolcetto is a daily wine. We drink everyday Dolcetto because normally we don't drink everyday Barbera because Barbera is more acid. Nebbiolo are too much green tannin. For us, the daily wine to drink every day is Dolcetto. Today, changing a little bit because the weather changing and become more stronger, more powerful. But some year ago was very different. No more alcohol, very light. Today change a little bit, but it continue to for us is a daily wine.
Dolce.
And this Dolcetto stay only in steel tank, not in wood. Is more fluid, more fresh, no more stronger, no more tannin. Is a perfect drink every day.
It really is.
Yes.
Mhm.
Io un'ora che bevo.
No,
Fate bere solo me?
no, anche noi, eh?
Ok.
No, so, right before we had lost the connection there, I wanted to know a little bit more about, so your family sold grapes, you studied elsewhere, you said you studied accounting?
Yes.
Right? But it
Bad job.
wasn't good for you, it wasn't your road, and you ended up back in. the
Because I
vineyard.
think if you love your job, not so much time. Me, when I go in office, I not my job, the time go too much slow, the day not finish is impossible.
What? They're getting,
Issues with Wi-Fi.
we're frozen again.
Remember?
So one thing I just wanted to mention about the Dogliani is that we imported in Aldo's wines, all of his wines in 2019. And I presumed that the Barolo would be what most people would be interested in. And it was true initially, but over the past year, there's been an increase in interest in Dogliani. It's kind of a funny word, it looks like dog liani. The G and the L in Italian is like ye. So I think that's, it has, the wine has some challenges because of the name, the weird name and stuff. But I think the more the word gets out about this wine, the more successful it will be.
Yeah, it's a wonderful wine, and it's great, like Aldo said too, for just kind of that wine to reach for every day. It pairs easily with
Yeah.
lots of different foods. So, rather than just kind of to reach for every meal, it is. And I think in this area in Piedmont, it's kind of, I remember traveling here in the very beginning, every producer had their Barolo, but they always had a little corner somewhere where they made their dolcetto for their evening meals. And it's a great grape for
Yes.
that. So, but I was, before we again lost the internet connection, I would say, we were talking about how you had studied accounting and decided that wasn't your passion, that wasn't your place. And what drew you to then start working again in a winery? What drew you to say, okay, I'm moving from accounting to wine?
I stopped to work in office because it's not for my life. I'm not free. And I decide, why don't I make wine? Because my family have a vineyard. Why I can do it? But I decided to start. But first I go some year to work in some other cellar. And for example, I go to Domenico Clerico because we are parent to Domenico Clerico, and the old cellar of Domenico Clerico is very near to mine.
Your dad is a cousin of.
We are cousin, yes, we are cousin. And I go to work in some cellar, and the last when I go was Domenico Clerico, and after I decided to stay at home. But Domenico, I only go to work in a cellar, because in Vigna I have work at home, not in Domenico. And okay, I come to him to work, but I come in the cellar. When you have anything to do in the cellar, no problem, I have work at home.
So
And I work last 2 years to Domenico, and I'm very lucky because we have Domenico learned too much to me, and they have a good relationship, and explain and learn to me to make a good wine.
Okay, so you kind of learned the basics of winemaking from
Yes.
from the Clerico,
Yeah.
from your relationship
Yeah.
over there. And then when you decided, how did you feel to open your own winery? What was that like for you? I mean, did you?
Because I love this job.
The other one
I'm really lucky. So I love my work. I like everything. It's a hard job because someday we are at the sun, someday at the freezing. But I think if you love, you have a passion, you love your job, and not so much tired. You do it in another method.
Easier to get through
Yes.
that part.
Yes.
Get comfortable
Very,
when
I
you're
love.
passionate about it. So it's amazing. It's so inspirational to think of kind of jumping into that on your own and starting your own business like
Yes.
that. And it's very courageous, very admirable.
Thank you very
I
much.
think.
But I'm very lucky because I have some hectare in the area of Barolo, because if I have no vineyard Barolo, I think I not make wine.
Yes, I did. Make wine. So
Yes.
I think the grapes.
So that's wonderful. Well, maybe we should move on and open the Barbera.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish this. We don't waste wine here. I think that's a cardinal sin personally. So. No, I was gonna move in, so. Okay, so this Barbera here is a Barbera d'Alba. So it's from, once again, the Langhe area. And maybe while you open it, a little bit about, does it age in wood? What's
Okay. The second wine is called the Barbera d'Alba. We make with the Barbera grapes. For Barbera, there are no rules. Every winemaker are free to use wood or not. But me, for my tasting, for my idea, I prefer Barbera put in wood for more than 1 year. Why? Because Barbera, when it's young, is more acid. It's possible you drink some young Barbera, you have a problem with stomach, very difficult to drink, because Barbera has more acidity. In wood, change, have an evolution. The acidity are the same, don't change, but a little sensation of wood, vanilla, a little, everything of this cover your sensation of wood. And when you drink, you have no problem for the acidity, but the acidity there are. And every winemaker are free to use wood or not. Me, I use. How many times every winemaker are free to decide more time or not. But me, I think the best period is minimum 1 year.
okay?
And this Barbera stay in fermentation 12-15 days with a controlled temperature. After finish a fermentation, we put in still tank. And normally in May, March, April, we put in wood. And stay for more time. We don't have no.
There's no rush. Okay, wow, so a full year in the barrel for this, to help kind of soften out that acidity and
Yes.
give it a little bit more.
In big barrels,
It stays some part in barrique and some part in barrel. And after we finish holding, I put together. But more stay in barrel. Prima le signori. Signorina, perché non sono sposata.
Really? Wow, this one here, this is a great color on it too. I really love this color, and
Barbera normally is more darker than Dolcetto. It's the characterized of these grapes are the more darker. And maybe it's more probably we have cucchiaino di sedimento.
a
Spunto.
little bit of sediment.
Okay, because during the holding in the bottle, maybe problem, probably a little bit, they lost a little bit of color, but a little bit is not a problem, it's normal, because we don't make Coca-Cola, Pepsi, this is natural, we don't pasteurize the wine, we don't kill the wine, and during more the time, in bottle, changing, have an evolution. We don't make industrial wine. The industrial wine is the same about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. My wine is live. And you drink today about 1 year, change, but it's natural.
Yeah, it evolves. It's a little bit different every year.
Yes.
depends Everything, well, and it depends in the vineyard, like you said, it starts with the grape and that.
It
That's
depends on the
good.
vineyard and the weather.
It's difficult these days. City that is not going very low,
Yes.
especially with barbarians.
Yes.
Just a side note, we're not sure that we were going to be able to come up to see Aldo this evening because it snowed over the weekend and on Monday. So much that we weren't sure the roads were going to be open, but we made it up and thank goodness because of this. And, but the weather has been really,
It's okay.
yeah, it's raining, but
It's okay.
even over this last year, we had that incredible heat this year, and now this, in March, it's not, snow is weird, so the weather seems to be something that constantly evolving, constantly changing. Do you find that difficult as a winemaker to keep up with, to stay,
For
follow the trend?
example, last year in my area, we don't a lot of problem of dry because during the very early in the morning, there is maybe a fog and the plant take humidity a little bit from the fog from the hill, no, foliage,
From the leaves.
the leaves. But in some other, have a lot of problem for the water. And at the moment it's raining and we are very happy. We need a lot of water because for the vineyard, for the plant and for my own being. Because during autumn I go to find a white truffle with the dog in the forest. I love when I go because you are me, the nature and the dog. Perfect. Very relaxed time.
And what you come out of the forest with is not necessarily a detriment to it either. Finding a couple of white truffles is not.
Very useful. Normally you pay for all these.
It's very relaxing. Me, the dog and the nature is you go very early in the morning, it's foggy, no more light, white. I love that.
Early in the morning, I guess.
Yes, early, but not so much.
Ah.
Because early is something to sell.
Well, it's, you can really feel the effect that the wood has,
Yes.
because normally Barbera, when you drink it, you just immediately, you feel your jaw clench of the acidity on it, and this one does not, it's pleasant, which is just absolutely, it makes Barbera sometimes a hard one to drink and to find one that is likable, but this
Because
is absolutely
the
wonderful.
tannin in wood changing, become a little more sweet, and when you have you drink, you have a sensation of sweet, not too much acidity.
That's true. And you can smell vanilla.
Yes,
Yes, so more sweeter notes.
Yes. Very nice.
No, it is.
Very good.
So where are the Barbera vineyards in there? Are they in the Barolo area or are they more towards Monforte?
Yes, it's in the Barolo. I have only a small one. And some client, they tell me, why you don't make Barbera d'Alba Superiore? No, it's not good because I have no more grapes. If I divided 15% Barbera d'Alba, 15% Barbera d'Alba Superiore are the same, only change the name, and I don't make too much bottle of one and number two. And I start with Barbera d'Alba and continue with Barbera d'Alba. I think Superiore or not Superiore are not necessary for sale. The most important is this: when you drink, you like or not, stop. After me, I make in wood, some another method. The most important is when you drink, you love or not. Very immediately.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank you very much.
You have converts over here, so.
So I have a
Well,
question. What is a Barbera Superiore? How is that different from Barbera d'Alba that Aldo makes?
Allora, in my case, are the same. But me, I don't put in the label because my Barbera stay more 1 year in the wood. Superiore stay minimum 6 months in the wood. My Barbera is Superiore, but I don't use the name Superiore because my client know Barbera d'Alba from Aldo Clerico, not Barbera d'Alba Superiore. I think superiore or not is not necessary. The most important people love or not. After a name is only a name.
So basically, this is a Barbera d'Alba Superiore. You just have
If I want to,
I decided
I
to
can
leave
use
it
the
this way.
name, but I don't.
No, it also sells itself on its own merits.
I think to make Barbera d'Alba Superiore only created more confusion for the client, I think, because are very similar, not too much different, only create confusion for the client. I think only for me, only Barbera d'Alba after client like or not, very easy.
True. It was a question I wanted to ask for the Dogliani. Didn't get a chance to. What is the soil like for the Barbera vineyard? And at
Are the
this
same
Thank you.
because we have a border. We have a border. In one part is Barbera, in the other Barolo, a border, Dogliani. Similar. Here are more stronger soil, calcare argilloso.
Like kind of a clay,
Yeah.
clay, kind of a limestone clay.
Mi fido.
Okay, so and
Jackie,
that's to the Barbera.
you cut out when Aldo was mentioning something about the Barbera vineyard being near the Dogliani vineyard. Is that what he said?
Yes, he was saying that they're only separated by about a 5-meter road.
Okay.
But it changed Hara because the Barbera d'Alba we make in the area Barolo at the end of the area of the Barolo. The vineyard of Barbera finish where is the border of the area of Barolo. I have a little street to turn with the tractor, and after I have another vineyard, but it's another village and it's not in the area of Barolo, and I make Dogliani, only 5-6 meters. Or just the street to turn with the tractor.
The map line,
Yes.
right between the two
Yes.
years. That's so awesome. That is that delineation between Barolo over here in Barbera and then the Dogliani.
Because more years ago, some people decide this is the area of the Barolo and this is not good for the Barolo. I think 5 meters not to change it much, but okay, because we need the sours normally.
Legally.
Okay. And for example, my cellar is the area of Monforte d'Alba, and in Monforte d'Alba, not all the villages are area of Barolo. For example, where you are here this evening is the area of the Barolo, and you are in Monforte. In front of me, there is another hill. It's Monforte, but it's not the area of the Barolo. Up, there is a little river, it divided area of Barolo in Monforte, not the area of Barolo in Monforte in another way.
I did not know that.
No, there are some villages in the area of Barolo are totally the area Barolo, for example, Barolo, Serralunga, and some other, and Monforte, Piano, poi cosa c'è? Aspetta, Gallo Grinzane are not totally area, they are Barolo. And the Monforte, me, I like it because I'm good side. I'm a good side.
No, yeah, because there's only 11 villages.
11 villages, yes.
Already,
But
that's
not in the village.
all of the villages, it's like
Not all the
entire village.
Not all the yes. Monforte is one of these, not all the area is Barolo.
Well, maybe all this talk of Barolo's got me kind of wanting a little bit of Nebbiolo.
Yes,
Should we move?
a lot of people think the grapes of Barolo is Barolo, but it don't exist grapes Barolo. We exist Nebbiolo grapes because in this area, Langhe and Roel, with the Nebbiolo grapes, it's possible make a different wine. For example, here in Monforte with the Nebbiolo grapes, you make Langhe Nebbiolo or Barolo, it depends. In Barbaresco, they name Barbaresco Treso. With the Nebbiolo grapes, we make Barbaresco or Langhe Nebbiolo. In another area called Roero, with the Nebbiolo grapes, they make Roero or Langhe Nebbiolo or Nebbiolo Barba. It depends what is the vigna. For example, when I put a new vigna, after come to me, organization control, and we decide this vigna good, disposition, good soil. Okay, this is perfect to make Barolo. Or they come to me and they say, no, are not so good because the exposition are not in south or is in north, for example. And they decide for me, yes, Barolo or not Barolo. And it's the same for Barbaresco and it's the same for Roel. It's not me, I decide I make Barolo or not. Other people decide for me.
Because those are the DOCG wines. They have that extra control guarantee,
Yes.
guaranteed control. Of
Yes,
some of
but
that.
the clients, you are more cool, sono molto curati.
They're very much sure.
Because me and other winemaker, we have a lot of control for the quality, for everything. And I think it's good for me because we don't found some wine with the water.
Yeah.
And for you, for the client, because you are more sure to drink wine, not a chemical wine.
Right.
For example, every day is possible come to me, police for helping, come here and they want to sell where is the wine. They know every year, they know exactly how many liter I make a wine, how many tank I have, the number of the tank, how many liter it's possible to eat. And they control, they take some sample, they analyze, and okay, no problem. Problem, problem.
Wow.
But I think it's good for you.
For the clients.
For me, because non abbiamo concorrenza sleale.
There's no unwanted competition.
Okay? And for you, because you are sure you drink a
We're
good
getting
wine.
Well, maybe we should open the Nebbiolo.
Yes?
And then
Chiacchierano.
we'll open up the Langhe Nebbiolo. So the Langhe Nebbiolo, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are also the same vineyards where you make the Barolo,
In
correct?
my case, in Langhe Nebbiolo, I use the young vigne of Nebbiolo from Barolo. Why? You think I'm stupid, I think, but I use the young vigne because normally the young vigne have a less big color, perfume structure than the older. And during harvest, we prepare separate. With the young, we make Langhe Nebbiolo, and with the older, we make Barolo.
Years.
At the moment, I'm not so much old because they have 15, 20 years, but I continue to make this wine because I think it's a good rapporto qualità-prezzo.
It's a nice balance between price and quality.
And this wine stay less day of fermentation than Barolo because I don't want to have the same extraction of Barolo. Because this wine I start to sell first Barolo, people need to drink. Normally stay 15 days of fermentation, Barolo stay 20 days or more, it depends. Heavy vintage pen. Because if the skin of the grapes are so much stronger, have no problem during fermentation question, it's possible to stay more time in fermentation. If the skin are so much slim. During fermentation start to crash, stay less because after we mix too much solid are not so much good.
Yeah.
And this Langhe Nebbiolo stay more 1 year in wood because I decided need to stay in wood because for some wine every winemaker are free. And in my case, the base in the Nebbiolo from Barolo stay less time of fermentation, but the tannin are so much green and very difficult to make. If I put in still tank, it don't change. About 1 year are the same as tank. In wood, you have an evolution, it changes, take oxygen, and the tannin become a little bit more soft. Not so much because Nebbiolo with no tannin is not Nebbiolo.
Yeah, of course.
It's true. The Nebbiolo grape itself is really known for those, and
Yes.
it's famous for it.
It's a very characterized Nebbiolo.
We love it.
Yeah,
It's not Nebbiolo.
it's difficult to find because that, you know, it's kind of local to Piedmont, to the Langhe. You find a little.
In the wine with the name Langhe, Langhe Nebbiolo, Langhe Barbera, Langhe Dolcetto, it's possible to put some other grapes, some other wine. I think 10% of the other wine, 15, non sapevo. But I don't know because I don't use it. Because for me, the name is Langhe Nebbiolo, it's Nebbiolo. I want to make 15% of other wine. I call red wine, Langhe Rosso, with a fantasy name, is perfect. But the name on the label is Nebbiolo, and I use Nebbiolo.
Straight
So,
Nebbiolo.
and my Nebbiolo, you see, are not so much darker because Nebbiolo are not so much darker.
It's a much lighter color than, especially coming from the Barbera.
Yes, something use some quantity of Barbera for the color. Me, I don't like to put because it's Nebbiolo and it's Nebbiolo stuff.
It's a lovely color anyway.
It is.
Different, but
So this is from a vineyard that Aldo could make Barolo wine, correct?
Yes, if I want to make Barolo with the vineyard of Langhe Nebbiolo, it's possible because the vineyard are the same exposition, the same planting 1 hectare, and is the same of the old vineyard, but I prefer make Langhe Nebbiolo.
And Aldo, is that because you feel like you should have a Langhe Nebbiolo in your lineup of products? Like why, because why wouldn't you make Barolo?
It's very easy because when I started to make wine in 2004, I don't have a Barolo. I need waiting 3 years to make to start to sell Barolo. If I want 2004, 5, 6, and 7, it's possible for me to buy a small quantity of wine or other winemaker and put my label. And I start with Barolo, but it's not my Barolo, it's Barolo for other people. I decide, no, I not buy Barolo and put my label because I'm not my Barolo. Me, I'm making another method because every winemaker are free to sell. And I decided to wait in 3 years. I started in 2004 and my first Barolo started to sell in 2008. During this time, go out Italy, only with Dolcetto, it's so much crazy. And Barbera, okay, is only, okay, Barbera, but it's only one wine. It's too less to take an airplane and go in the world for one wine. And they decided to make this Langhe Nebbiolo because a lot of importers, you're from Monforte, you have no Barolo, you are strange, why make why? I explain, I have no, because we started in 2004, I have no Barolo, but at the moment I have Langhe Nebbiolo. And this wine, I need to find when I start to make wine, to find client. And today I continue to make Langhe Nebbiolo because people like, I think is buon rapporto
It
qualità-prezzo.
gives that nice balance
E
of.
non è che diciamo,
Oh,
yes, and are less expensive and we are more probability to drink too much than Barolo. A lot of people drink Barolo only Easter, Christmas time, only some special occasion. Nebbiolo, you have more occasion to drink because you spend less money, the quality are good.
Quality is definitely good.
We call it a baby Barolo.
Yeah, a baby.
The baby Barolo, yes.
It is, that's a good.
You see, it's the tannin aggressive, not so much sweet, because the base is the Nebbiolo from Barolo. We have the same cure, not with the young vigne to use for Langhe Nebbiolo. We have more grapes than Barolo. Are the same. You don't. If you go Langhe Nebbiolo Barolo, you don't see any difference. Are the same. Me, I know the difference because the young and the old. But for the grapes, 7 grapes planted for Langhe Nebbiolo and 7, 8, 10 in Barolo are the same.
But this makes them spend some time in the wood anyway.
For more 1 year,
One
stay
year.
more 1 year.
Big barrels or
Stay only in barrick, but I don't use too much new barrick because I don't like more wood in the wine. Me, I like the wine. When you drink wine, I want to have the flower, the fruit of the wine, not only wood, because only wood are all the wine are the same.
Okay, so you use really big.
No, only
Oh, but,
use, for example, some barrick have 5, 6 years, are not so much. Every year we change 10, 5, depend, but not, we don't like too much new barrick because new wood, only new wood cover the wine.
yeah.
Yes, you don't know is the biology there is wood. Stop.
So
so this.
Aldo and Jackie, Matt has a question. How long should you wait to drink a Barolo?
Quanto deve invecchiare?
Deve
O
aspettare.
quanto deve aspettare?
Ma guarda, il biolo per bere?
No, fa-
Allora, ma in cantina o per berlo? Ok. I was accounting. I hope you don't stay too much time in your cellar because it's not good business for me. If you don't drink it, then buy other. Adesso scherzavamo, però è vero.
No, I'm joking, it's not. I mean,
But it's okay. If you don't drink, it's not good business.
He doesn't want you to keep it, Matt. He wants you to keep drinking.
But normally, for my tasting, 10, 15 years. But for me, because me, I don't like too much the older vintage. When I go to a restaurant, normally I don't take 20 years or more older because I don't like this wine. For work, we taste the old vintage, but it's for work. For pleasure, I prefer young wine because I like the tannin is stronger. About 20 years or more years are good, but it's a little bit start to become brown. The tannin are no more stronger, are soft. For my tasting, personally, I don't like too much this wine. I prefer the young wine. But Barolo, Palmarès, all the wine, I prefer the young one for my tasting. For pleasure, 10, 5 years. For work, because something was with some friends, we have all the vintage, but it's work, are different. But 10, 15 years or 20 years, I have no problem. Some vintage have less problem for holding than other. But normally 10, 15 years, no problem. But it depends where you stock your wine. Because if you stock in a very bad cellar during winter, the temperature freezing, during summer it's too much hot. My wine and all the wine in the world is not a good life in this cellar.
So kept in the right conditions.
Yes.
10 to 15 years, it's a perfect sweet
Yes.
spot.
And normally the bottle
Horizontal.
horizontal because the cork need to stay in contact with the wine to have a good closure. Is to stay
Upright.
upright are not good because the cork become dry and maybe possible and their oxygen and you make a good vinegar.
Yeah, I think we've all had a bottle that in the back of the cupboard has been found after a little bit of time and
Showing to the side.
yes. Or just salad. Just a salad, so. Lovely, this Nebbiolo. So I don't want to move us too quickly along, but maybe we should jump right into the Barolos.
Ok,
If
volete ascoltare?
se vuoi usare il Barolo che è più facile, non devi aprire la pipia e va bene. Sì, sì, ma va benissimo quello. And now we now we're going to commit the ultimate sin.
30 kilometers to try.
I have to drive home. As disappointing as that is, so.
Allora, this is the first Barolo. This is the black label. Some people call it the black label. And this is a blend. All the vineyards are in the area Monforte, but every year to make this wine is possible to have 2 or 3 kinds of Barolo. Why? Because during the harvest, we separate all the vineyard. Every year of this Barolo, we have 4 or 5 kind of this Barolo. They have the same fermentation, but with different result, because it's possible, more probably, it's possible 2 vineyards have the same result, but are different. During fermentation, they stay separate. All this life stays separate. Some part stay in barric, some part stay in barrel. After 2 years in wood, we put in steel tank, and after we taste what is the best or what are the best, because it's probably possible then Barolo number 1 are more good for the flower. Barolo number 2 is more good for the tannin, for the structure, and Barolo number 3 is more good for the color. Okay, and we blend 1, 2, and 3. We make a more sample with different percentage of number 1, 2, and 3, and we taste it and we decide what is the best for me, because the first client of me are me, and the wine like me. And every year of this wine, we use 3-4 vineyards. Every year change the percentage, and every year change the percentage of barric and barrel.
So every,
It's hard job to make a lot of sample.
but it's like an art project every year to assemble this wine out of these different vineyards and different.
It's a good, good job. And the whole reason because I say if I want to go to the
You don't have to worry about driving.
I don't need to drive.
No, that's one, it's a really interesting, it really.
Jackie, I have a question. And then
Yeah.
and Aldo. Aldo, so I'm imagining that you have these different the different vineyards of the Barolo
Yes.
in different barrels, right? And you're doing the
Yes.
assemblage. And
Yes.
deciding you want maybe 20. How many vineyards? Is it 6 vineyards, right?
Quanti vigne?
Ci sono 5 vigne.
Five, okay.
Five.
Every vigne have a name. We have Patrichino, we have Tradotto, because we are traditional. All the name used my grandfather is this, and we continue to use this name for the vision. If you come in my cellar, you see, for example, the Viola from Barolo, 2022, Tradotto. After you see the same Barolo, but another name, Patrichino. Every vigna of this Barolo have a name. It's maybe something is the old boss, some other is the old name, more here. My grandfather called with this name because his father used this name, and today we continue to use this. It's a tradition. And this is a blend.
Jackie,
Second and the last is-
after this, you should get all the details. It'd be great to know all the backstories of each, the names of each of the vineyards. Aldo, let me finish my question. So you have these 5 different wines from each
Yes.
Barolo wines from each of these different vineyards, and you're doing this assemblage.
Yes.
Do you ever have any Barolo wine that's left?
No, cosa fai quando fai l'assemblage? Cosa fai con il vino che è avanzato? Se non usi tutto di una vigna, cosa fai?
Lo do altre cantine.
Okay, he sells it to other wineries.
Normally,
Oh,
in the
interesting.
bottle, I put only the best for me, because I don't want to make more bottle and with no more quality. I prefer make less bottle with a good quality. It's possible some years, some part, some other winemaker, and they put the label. For me, it's not necessary to make 1,000 million of bottle. It's not for me. I prefer stay little, and because if I'm little, I have more clue, more time to go in vineyard. It become too much bigger. I'm not a farmer. I needed to change this. I become a businessman. To me, I'm not a businessman. I'm a farmer. I love farmer.
That's a good point.
It is. But it makes sense if
Quality over quantity.
Because me, I do this. Basta.
It's so good.
It is. It has a lovely expressive
More
note.
stronger, more powerful, and more alcohol. Because vintage 2017 had to more alcohol. Because the plant start to grow very early. And in May, freezing, and some part of the plant dead. There are also plants, they have only 2-3 grapes for plant, and not so much. And this year we make no more quantity. But we have more alcohol because the plant have more maturation, because they only have 3 grapes for maturation, not 6 or 7. And then normally in the label we put less alcohol than in the bottle. Because to print the label, we have a range 0.5 less or more. Normally, we prefer to put less because, for example, Sheila, important from the USA, I think more alcohol, more tax. But it's another problem. In Italy, some people look the alcohol at the restaurant. If they don't open the bottle, they change the bottle because after they need to try. And we prefer normally to put less in the label. And this is the only vineyard from Monforte d'Alba, and all the vineyards are in the Cru Bricco San Pietro, but I didn't use the name. For me, this wine is a classic Barolo.
You don't use good, but you could.
I don't use. If I want to use, yes, but I start with no name and continue with no name.
That's an MGA, correct? Aldo?
Yes,
Bricco San
yes,
Pietro
it's
is also
Bricco
mentioned.
San Pietro.
So
I think
MGA is a is it, well, as Aldo said, it's a crew, designation and, when did they start doing MGAs, Aldo? Quando è iniziato con MGA?
Oh, I don't know exactly, but I think 20 years or more. People go here and ask every winemaker where is the vineyard, the name. It's a very long work. And today, every year is possible. I'll become a little bit more because some people have a new vineyard.
Yeah.
Yes, and they work every day. And for example, here at Rico San Pietro, the last wine is a singular vineyard from a very famous crew called the Ginestra in the Monforte. In this case, I use the name of the crew and is Ginestra from Monforte. The last one. Yes.
But I think kind of leaving it, this is a very classic, classic is a perfect way to describe this in terms of Barolos, what a Barolo should be. It's very classic. I like that word.
Allora, balsamico.
Yes, more balsamic, more stronger, more powerful. But we are very lucky because the weather in 2017 are so much good.
Yeah.
Not so much in the spring because it's freezing, but after the weather it's okay.
It finished the year. Wonderful.
And this year, 2007, the harvest finished at the end of September because the plant have no more grapes and we need to cut early because they have a more maturation and we don't need too much more alcohol. In normal vintage, normally we finish at 15 October, but this year we finish early because we have too much alcohol.
It's really
So,
nice.
Thank you.
so Matt and Pepe and Michael have a comment, and they said that they just retasted the Barbera, and it is improved since they first tasted it. So how long should these bottles be opened prior to tasting? And they're interested in knowing for each wine how long they should if they should open the wine beforehand and how much time.
Okay, normally to have a good wine, we need to open the wine some hours first. And for the old vintage Barolo, is the best is the decanter because it takes oxygen and you separate it. It's possible to make some solid, very old vintage, and you put in the decanter, you separate. And for the younger vintage is not necessarily decanter, but is the best open 3-4 hours first.
So for the Barolos, 3 or 4
Take a little bit of oxygen is perfect.
And for the other ones,
For the other wine, yes, if you want, it's not a problem.
to open them a little bit.
1 hour first, it's okay.
An hour before
Yes.
for the others. So an hour before for the Giuliani Barbera.
Yes.
Nebbiolo.
For Barolo, yes.
So 1 hour before. Okay. Yeah, so in general, Aldo's recommending to open all the wines ahead of time. As he said, just to recap, so for the non-Barolo wines, 1 hour, and then for the Barolos, ideally 3 to 4 hours before.
Andiamo avanti.
Yeah.
Andiamo avanti.
Let's do the Ginestra, because we were just talking about it.
If there's too much snow.
Ti faccio sapere in cantina, ti scarico il vino.
Oh, you're not opening it beforehand.
Ci siamo dimenticati.
You forgot.
So,
This is the second Barolo from another village called Serralunga d'Alba. The first and the last arrived from the Monforte, and these arrived from Serralunga. Barbera, Dogliani, Nebbiolo, and the first Barolo, the classic Barolo, have more similar the label, because when I start to make wine, I have only this wine, 5 wine. But in 2004, we start to make other 2 kinds of Barolo. One is this from the village of Serralunga, and we decide to put the moon for the label. Why the moon? Because me and all the winemaking in this area are not kill the wine, we don't pasteurize the wine. And for more work in the cellar, we look the moon. For example, my wine, when we go in bottle, we look the moon. Normally we go in bottle in the old moon, because it's the old traditional in this area, the best period for the wine, for the red wine, is the old moon, because they have less problem oxidation and the life are more longer. And this is all the traditional, my grandfather, his father, and today we continue and we decide to make the moon. The cellar, we look more the moon, but in Vigna are the same, we look the moon. Normally, when during winter, we cut the plant. In the new moon, the plant are more stronger, more powerful.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
No, I just wanted to know what Aldo was talking about with the moon, the stages.
Are
of
the
the
different
moon.
phase of the moon. And this wine is only one vineyard, is not a blend from Serralunga, and this wine stay only in barrel, not in barric. The first is a blend, some part in barric, some part in barrel. This I not blended with anything, is not changed, and stay only in barrel.
This is a single vineyard,
Yes, from Serralunga.
only in Faro.
Devo fare cavaliere.
Looks like they've.
A little bit, it's an interesting area, because it's got a different soil.
And very different soil, and the results are very different. And more tannin, more taste. Are very different.
So generally, my understanding has been that the soil from Serralunga is a little bit older. It's
Yes.
the first part, this whole area is what was once marine area. And so Serralunga was kind of the first part that popped out of the
Yes.
ocean.
So
So,
more on yes, than the other.
and how does that affect the wine in terms of the tannin structure?
I think from Serralunga is more powerful, more tannin, and more balsamic. A very good wine.
Yeah, lots of those balsamic notes.
And more stronger, more longer when you taste it.
Yeah, some
Yes.
persistent.
Yes.
Mhm. I
Is it
feel
more age-worthy too?
more-
Is it more age-worthy too?
Yeah.
Sì, è più, sono tutte e due adatte. Parlo italiano.
No, it is, it's better for aging, but
Yes.
both age well, but the Serralunga is particularly well adapted to it. But I mean, because the tannins will kind of, as it gets older, the tannins
Yes.
soften.
Yes, I think Serralunga, you need waiting more time for drink than the first one, the first
Okay.
Barolo. Need a little bit more time.
Little bit more time.
Yes. The first is like you drink, you don't need to waiting more here. Serralunga, I think about some time more in the bottle, changing the candle.
But
At the moment, it's a little bit young.
next to it right now.
For my tasting, I like tannin.
Yeah. Yes.
Looks like they're having some
Yes.
fun there.
For me, it's normal tannin.
It's
Like,
we noticed, Andrea and I grew up in California. I started drinking wine with California wine. And we noticed a big difference in our flavor profiles of what we like in wine. And definitely I have this, let's just say it's kind of like a cultural thing of, the new world style of Californian wines. So tannins like this are easy to find. And so it's much more of a shock for me that I have to get used to than the Langhe dog.
but for us, it's normal.
I mean, you guys can do this.
I don't like too much.
Yeah.
It's very easy to drink, you drink too much, but it's not my favorite.
Well, these are definitely, they're wines that also make you think a little bit too, that make you ponder the wine, you want to examine it a little
Yeah.
bit. Di meditazione,
Yes, yes.
sicuramente.
But it goes great with food as well. It's especially very fatty.
For the food, you cooking, what is the best playing with the Barolo?
Wow. I always go for, in our last VeroTalk, we cooked together.
Yeah.
We made that filetto.
Filet.
And I always
Best.
go, I think so, because first of all, you can cook with the wine. So you take a little bit of that flavor in there. And then the juiciness of that medium rare filet with the tannin in the wine to help to dry it out. I think a nice filet like that is just.
Your best plate. Prosciutto.
I forgot. Yeah. It's lunchtime for you guys.
Well, I'm getting hungry and thirsty, so let's move on to this this one here, which is like the star of, I think, of his lineup, and I see Noni smiling. I think this is what got Noni through the COVID lockdowns.
Someone has it. Noni has it. No. Well, I wanted to talk, so this wine is very special. I know I've asked you in the past, what is your place? And your answer is always this one.
This wine is this for me.
Yes.
Because this wine on the label, I use the hand of my little princess, Martina and Melissa. Because this wine I started to make in 2014, and this year I became daddy for the first time. The vineyard is vineyard of my mother-in-law because they sell us some grape to me, and we decided to make a wine for my little girl. And for the label, I use the hand of Martina and Melissa. And something tell me, what is your favorite? And I tell, it's a wrong question for me, because this, for me, is this. This is the best, but for this, and we return in the village of Monforte, in a famous group called Ginestra. And because my mother-in-law has some vineyard in this special group, because my mother-in-law some years ago had a cellar, but at the moment we sell cellar, but rested some vineyard, and was very famous area, because the big winemaker in this area have vineyard. There is Domenico Clerico, Conterno Fantino, Elio Grasso, and me. I'm very lucky because my mother-in-law have 3.5 hectares in this area. Every year I decide what is the best for me, and I go to cut. Every year it's possible to change where arrive the grapes, because it's possible some year the weather is too much sunny, it's possible the grapes are burned, and normally we don't take at the top of the hill, but you prefer in the middle of the hill or down.
So you choose specifically which grapes you
I
want
will
to
here, I
plant
just cut the grapes in this vineyard for first, then decide what is the best. Some year is possible at the top, some other year in the middle, depend.
But you
Because
get to choose.
I choose, I'm very lucky. And to make this one, we use only one vineyard, because the vineyard are very longer. It's only one, it's only
one that goes all the way
but it's only longer. And this wine stay only in barrel. And stay minimum 2 years in barrel, and the third year, everyone maker are free to decide where wood, steel tank or bottle. Normally, stay more 2 years in wood, and after we stay some month in steel tank, and after we put in bottle.
So I wanted to ask, this wine is like a blending of you and your wife. And I wanted to
I'm
ask,
just married.
the business, right?
Okay.
Valentina.
Jackie, I didn't hear
Valentina?
you. I didn't hear, it was, I don't know, the sound went out.
I was asking Aldo, what contributions outside of the grapes that his wife brings to the business. Come ti aiuta Valentina?
Allora,
Come una coppia, come vuoi intrecciare
we are a good team because me, I work in vineyard, in the cellar, not in an office because I hate it. We are very lucky for the boys and everything. My partner. I don't like work in office.
You enjoy it, so.
You work in office and something I need, but I prefer stay in office, not me. For me, it's a good combination.
She studied, she went to, she studied ragioniere as well. We went in
I don't like because they don't miss.
Tina.
Secretary. It's a good money.
Yeah, because I mean, the secretaries here in Italy have sometimes a different role where they take on a lot more of the accounting practices than in America. They do a lot more bookkeeping, and then it's more, it's much more of an intricate.
I'm very lucky because my wife, his mother have a cellar and they know the paper, the document are necessary for the cellar, and today have me. Perfect, because I don't like working in the office, I don't go to make a paper, I have no patience, I prefer go to bed for sunning the video, not in the office.
So you and Valentina divide, you take the.
Yeah, Jackie, we're not hearing you too well. So,
I'm not quite sure what to do. Is it breaking up, Sheila?
it's just, yeah,
Or-
it gets all of a sudden like garbled. So I think it's when you talk, when you don't face the camera. But in any case, you were talking about his wife and Valentina, who we miss seeing today, but from what I heard, because of the snowstorm, they couldn't get a babysitter, so so Valentina's watching the two girls they have. So we hope next time, Aldo, to see Valentina on Zoom, and even just your daughters just to say hi. We'll try to do it at an earlier time in the future, because I know it's late for you.
If you would like to come visit in Piedmont.
Oh, yeah.
No, Valentina.
Yeah. Well, I just like, we should probably start to close the VeroTalk. I do think that, that's I just want to mention, like, there have been several of our, clients and people we know that went to visit Aldo in Monforte d'Alba, and they really enjoyed the visit. So so for sure, just feel free to reach out to us if you plan on visiting the Barolo wine region, and we'd be happy to put you in touch. So everyone we know that visits just really enjoys. It's almost like they more enjoy the company than the wine, believe it or not. But it is a special visit. Does anyone have any questions? So you can just unmute yourself or at this point. So
I just wanted to ask, the last Barolo, what was the region or name of it?
it's called Ginestra. That's Ginestra. And as Aldo said, it's a really small MGA. That's this crew, official crew definitions that the Barolo Consortium have defined. And it's very close to Aldo's winery. It's also in the town of Monforte d'Alba. It's
Thank you.
actually
Very
it's a
few
type of wine that a
winemakers.
lot of wine collectors seek out. But typically the wine collectors will seek out names like Conterno, for example, and that Valentina's grandfather is Paolo Conterno. So I know Aldo's very low key about it, but but that gives you.
Because
It's a wine, it's a crew that very few people have access to, I think. Is my
it's
understanding.
very special group, very famous group, because a lot of big winemaker, very famous, have a vineyard here. And my mother-in-law, some year ago, was one of the boss of Paolo Conterno. He make tre bicchieri, 3 glass of Gambaro Rosso, a lot of Point of Parker, very famous, but all Bizarra are famous. And in 2004, my mother-in-law divided it from his brother. And about this, I start to make a Barolo from Ginestra. Because in Ginestra it's impossible buy some grapes because only my mother-in-law, all the rest is the property are a very big and famous seller in Zara and they don't sell grapes. I'm very lucky. I'm just married.
How many years for nectar of Ginestra?
Because if you don't want to buy here, so,
And they've got to take the second pick after.
no, I open to sell.
Oh, wow.
Is it possible, sir? I stopped to make the wine for the Christmas.
You have no choice but to get it. But we'll have to, we'll keep drinking it. to make sure. Well, this has been an absolutely lovely,
She's cutting.
I've learned so much. Does anyone have any other questions?
I think we could probably close.
Okay,
And
I'll let you
enjoy the rest of
sign
the
off,
evening.
Sheila.
Thank you all. Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was great seeing you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aldo
Cheers.
and Jackie and Andrea. Cheers.
Thank you.